Well, there's all kinds of angles on this thing. I mean, one that I think has to be thrown out here is that whatever the 49er organization saved by absolutely having the knockdown, drag out, tough negotiations with all their great players, this is where it fucking burns you in week one. Where does it? I mean, week two. I mean, here in the first part of the year, you get burned. You get burned. Why? Because you wanted to get a better price on Aiyuk. You couldn't handle your business on time like the rest of the other 31 teams in the league did. Your holdout didn't have to just go into the summer. It went into camp. Oh, it didn't just go into camp. It went all the way through camp. Oh, it didn't just go into the preseason. It went all the way through the preseason. Well, guess what? You may have saved a few bucks. Let's, give Parag an extra seat at the table for the next potluck dinner around the Niner organization. But guess Larry, what? That's why they lost. That's part of the reason why they lost. I mean, Trent doesn't look like Trent yet. Aiyuk doesn't look anything like Aiyuk. Aiyuk right now is just a guy.
He looks like a
guy running around.
Receiver. He looks like a rookie wide receiver. And, to say whatever they saved, Larry, what did they save? Feels like they're paying Brandon Aiyuk at the absolute premium. They had the same deal that they waited. They put him a month in front of him a month before he actually signed it. So I don't know if we can just clobber them. But the Trent Williams thing is ridiculous. And guess what? Trent Williams was not good yesterday. Not by his standards. He wasn't. So I think that you're right. I think that the offseason definitely reared its head more in week 2 than it did in week 1, which is a little bit surprising. But, blaming all the ink that was or wasn't on a contract, you really don't get to complain about your football loss when your team just basically does everything it needs to do to lose a football game. You can't say you didn't deserve to get it when you fail to execute on 4th and goal, on the way to being held to 17 points. You turn the ball over multiple times. You fail to get off the field on 3rd down. You fail to stay on the field on 3rd down. You get a punt blocked, and you give up 6 sacks. I mean, you just can't complain when you do that. You deserve to lose.
Oh, you can complain. You can complain.
No, I'm sure you can complain.
You can complain.
It's going to fall on deaf ears because you know what you did. You fucked it up. This wasn't the refs getting you. It was a little bit of Minnesota. And I told the one thing that I did, Larry, absolutely nail last week when you asked me, what do you fear the most about the Minnesota Vikings? Remember what I told you?
No, Jefferson, maybe, or the house.
Brian Flores. Brian Flores is the guy that I feared the most. And he absolutely put a defensive level clamp on the 49ers that was a little reminiscent of the Super Bowl. You had wide receivers running with dudes attached to their hip. He shut down and made busy traffic in the middle of the field all day long for Brock Purdy. It's why the Niners only went 2 for 10 on 3rd down offensively. So it was an excellent defensive game plan. And even through that, the 49ers still threw for 300 yards, had a running back go for 100 yards, and had a wide receiver go for under 100 or go for over 100 yards. The offense churned 24 first downs, nearly 400 yards of offense. You had your all-world linebacker making incredible plays all over the field. As good as the Vikings were, it was still there for the Niners. They didn't execute. And they didn't execute because they spent as much of the day getting in their own way as the Vikings did.
I mean, to me, the Niners' conditioning as a team looks poor right now. That's one. 2, there just was a lot of things that they just couldn't overcome in this game. And you put them all together and you're not going to win. It's as simple as that. The first half, I mean, let's go back to the first half for a second. The first half was totally defined by huge negative plays. Mitch Wishnowsky gets a punt blocked, and then the guy's right there, and he doesn't touch him or do anything. I thought his effort after the punt block was awful. Then the Niners failed on 4th and goal from the 2 on a deflection. On a pass from Purdy to Jennings that got tipped. Then, so they're, I actually agreed with Shanahan's decision to go for it on 4th down because you got them backed up. And that only works if you play good pass coverage. Instead, Sam Darnold toasted Jair Brown for a 97-yard Jefferson pitch and catch. That was a huge gaffe. Then the Niners get stuffed on 4th and 2 from the 43 when Aiyuk is an illegal shift penalty, and they lose the ball twice on downs. I mean, if you think about it, the punt block is like a turnover. They turned it over twice. Brock had both a fumble and an interception, and they got stuffed on 2 4th downs, and they gave up a 97-yard touchdown. I mean, it's just too much. Second half, Bosa got hurt, but then he came back, luckily. Purdy throws an interception to Metellus. If it wasn't for Isaac Yiadom with his 2 huge fumble recoveries, they would have gotten beat by a lot more. If Fred Warner wasn't on this team, they would have got beat by a lot more. They gave up a sack to Pat Jones that ended one of their third quarter drives. Jacob Cowing muffed a punt. Luckily Yiadom fell on that one and didn't burn him. Purdy turns it over inside your 10-yard line. One play later, Naylor beats Mooney Ward on a easy play action pass where Mooney just bit and it was wide open pitch and catch. So there were just a lot of mistakes. Purdy fumbled at the 4-yard line and Jihad Ward picked it up. So, to me, I mean, even so, all of the negatives, Damon, and still the 49ers, after JP Mason scores the 10-yard touchdown, are down 20-14. There's 10 minutes and 16 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And if Nick Sorensen's defense can step up, and this is against Minnesota with no Justin Jefferson. He was out. No Jordan Addison. No TJ Hawkinson. Jones was less than 100%. They were leaning on Ty Chandler. And still you let Sam Darnold convert 3 third downs in 14 plays and 6.5-minute drive. And so Sorensen and the Niner defense, they've got something to answer for today. So, I mean, it's like, and then, the punt blocked. I mean, the Niners are a special teams freaking nightmare right now. So it was all 3 phases of the game loss. I'll tell you the one thing,
Larry, and that's why I'm saying, like, there's nothing to complain about. Like, you just do a small handful of the things, of the long list of things that went wrong. You just do a small handful of those, you're going to lose a football game. You do all of them, you deserve to lose a football game. The 49ers did not deserve to win that game. They should have actually probably been blown out by multiple touchdowns, and they were a massive disappointment. It's one of the more disappointing game plans. It's one of the more disappointing afternoons of execution. When I thought the first sign of trouble is when the 49ers get the opening kickoff and they go 3 and out. I mean, folks, if you're looking for bad signs, that's one of them. Kyle normally has this offense ready to play on its opening drive, and it's scripted and it's precise and it works. Yesterday, none of that happened. They go 3 and out on the opening drive. And I'll tell you, there's another little omen of, I bet you the 49ers are going to lose this game. I don't care at what point in the game it happens. When Brock Purdy has passes batted down at the line of scrimmage, I wonder if the Niners have won a single game in which Brock Purdy has had a pass batted down at the line of scrimmage. It feels like that always walks hand in hand with this team losing a football game, and it happened yesterday. So
they won the NFC Championship game. He had multiple passes batted in his face in that game. And they won that game. But, to me, there's a bigger issue. There's a bigger issue at play here.
The NFC title game, to be honest with you. So, I said they probably should have lost the NFC title game, to be honest with you.
I'm just saying that was one game I can remember.